I'll upload this to YouTube. I'll make it unlisted. That way
Okay.
that you can and I'll send you the link. That way you can go back and like review it whenever you want. You know, that kind of thing.
Okay.
Is that
Sweet.
good?
Yeah, sounds great.
Okay,
Thank
cool.
you.
Awesome. So the whole
Oh, and
point, go ahead, Zane.
I have a question too, Noam, just before you get jump into it. Like
Okay.
last week, we kind of allowed people to talk about themselves, like
Oh
introduce
yeah, good point.
themselves, and
Good
then
point.
yeah, I would want to hear about Robbie, and I wish Matt if you had microphone.
Yeah, Robbie, tell us more about yourself, man. Like, your story, your location, like that kind of thing, what you're up to now.
Yeah, so right now I'm house hacking in Virginia, Norfolk, Virginia. I have a triplex here that I bought like December of last year. And am trying to get into like the commercial space. And obviously, I've researched that it needs a hefty down payment to kind of get into that game. So, and I've been like f following you for quite a while and seeing your content and been very interested in it.
I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Um, what you said, Norfolk. I played
Mhm.
summer baseball one summer in Potomac, Maryland, which is near Virginia, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard of it.
Okay, all right. It's just another town. I mean, everything on the East Coast, they all run together. All those cities and states. There's like so many of them over there.
Yeah, yeah. I'm originally from Michigan. I went to Michigan State and then just moved down
Okay.
here
Okay,
like
cool.
last
Lansing.
year. Yeah,
It's chilly up there.
yeah, it is. I had to get out of that weather.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. All right. Well, Matt, if you can hear us, I'd like to, if you can speak, I'd love to hear kind of your story real quick if you got a second, or can you talk or no?
Hey, can you hear me?
Okay. Hey, Matt.
Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
Sorry, just to figure out how to connect the microphone.
Yeah, man. Tell us your story, man. What's going on?
Yeah, so I've been in the real estate world. We bought
It's muffled. It's
in
muffled, Matt.
28.
We're having trouble hearing you, Matt.
Uh,
All right, Matt. We might just have to hold off on that one. So, all right. I say be present if you can. Okay, cool. No, Robbie, thanks for that information. What the goal of today is like is exactly what you just said. Most people, myself included, when I first got started, I first I had a fear of commercial real estate. I didn't know what I was doing. Like you buy a couple of houses, you do some house hacking, a duplex here and there, that kind of thing. It's cool because that's what they talk about on the forums, like whatever. I did that, right? I had 55 houses, did the whole thing. The problem was that I had fear of commercial property because I just didn't I wouldn't say I didn't know what I was doing. I just like heard of a bunch of ratios and metrics and stuff, and I just had timidness because I had the fear of the unknown, right? I just didn't know what I was doing. So what I end up doing essentially is read a couple books. Have you read any of the books that I've recommended by chance?
Um,
Have you read Rich Dad Poor Dad?
no, I haven't, but I've
All right, I'm about to
watched
put you on the
the
train, dude.
YouTube video of it.
I'm not gonna tell you that you're gonna change your life, but if you read Rich, like, okay, do you have a pen and paper by chance?
Yeah.
Okay, I should probably write this down. I should probably put this on my background, like on the background somewhere, like books to read, just so everyone can have them. And again, Robbie, I'll be honest with you, dude. Like Zane and I, this is our second time doing this, so put up with us not knowing really what we're doing. Honestly, like
Oh,
it's
it's all
funny.
good.
Um, but like books to read. But I'm telling you, man, I'm not telling you what to do, but it will change your life if you read these books. Um, Robert
Yeah, Robert Kiyosaki.
Saki.
I've heard a whole bunch about him. He's
Have you read the next one would be Commercial Real Estate Investing by Dolph J. Roos. Next
uh,
one would be uh, Tax Free Wealth by Tom Wright. And Tom Wheelwright actually is Robert Kiyosaki's accountant. So that's a good one. And then Becoming Your Damn it. Your own banker. There we go. Those are the books right there.
Okay.
Books to read. Rich Dad Poor Dad, Commercial Real Estate Investing, Tax-Free Wealth, and Becoming Your Own Banker. Date Ruse. There you go. So those are the books. And like I said, I appreciate you putting up with me because I mean, we're just kind of going at it. The point of this today again is to show you how to buy your first property without having to show up with a $250 down payment. Okay. So I'll show you a couple of HUD statements and some stuff on like how I've done it. But this if you haven't already, again, download this blueprint. It's basically every single step that you need. It's color coded on like who on your team is responsible on that part of the like the journey, the timeline. But what I did when I first bought my first $1 million building, I bought I still own it. It's in Tarrant, Alabama, which is like Northeast Birmingham. $1.35 million, 68,000 square feet, 2 buildings. And I had a lot of fear, blah, 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 blah. Like, but when the seller was selling me the property, this is how I discovered this. Like this is how I discovered this seller financing thing. The seller actually asked me, he goes, "Hey, Nolan, do you mind if I leave 450 in this deal?" And so I was gonna have to get a mortgage for like $920,000, basically like $1 million and some change or whatever the number was after like some repairs and stuff. And he goes, "You mind?" He's like a Chinese guy. He's like, "Do you mind if I leave $450,000 in this deal?" And I said, well, "I don't know. I mean, I had a bunch of houses, but I had never heard of that. I've heard of subject to and owner wraps and that kind of thing, but like I didn't know what that was." And so I called my accountant. I said, "Hey, Clay, is this a thing? Am I like, what am I missing? Like, what is this guy trying to pull a fast one on me?" And he goes, "No, no, no. It's literally just a tax move. He's leaving money in the deal in the form of debt, which therefore is by technicality, it's not income. So he doesn't pay a capital gain on that money. He's going to separate it into a separate tax year in the future, which he's most likely going to be at a lower tax bracket and save himself tax, capital gain income."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, so that's how you do it." So then what I started to do after sitting down with my account, I was like, "So how can I position that strategy to help my sellers save money to save capital gains tax?" Then I started to focus only on not being a buyer, but a seller consultant. Like that's the game now. Like when I'm buying a building, I don't ever just sit there and like try and negotiate and buy it. I'm actually negotiating on my seller's behalf, and I force the government to be the bad guy. He's the guy on the other side of the table, not me.
Yeah.
It's like him and me on the same team. And so when I started doing that, I've not only purchased more property, but you end up being able to close more deals and more people want to work with you that way because you're actually putting your seller first. So I'll just so does you guys you have a question on that or anything before I kind of jump in? Zane, do you have a thought before I start to jump into this again, there's 3 phases of this. The phase 1 essentially is just how to underwrite the deal, make sure the deal makes sense. The second phase is actually while you're in underwriting and you're under contract, you're getting close. And then the third phase is actually the ownership phase, like how to send K1s and to your investors and like shit like that. So do you have a thought, Robbie or Matt or Zane? Do you guys have an opinion before I kind of jump in?
No, I think it's great. I think we should keep going.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, sounds good.
Okay, cool. Thank you, Matt. It's great to hear you, bro. Awesome.
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry, it took me a minute.
Matt, would you like to, before I kind of jump, would you like to just kind of give us a 30,000 foot view real quickly?
Yeah, so I live here in Birmingham. I live in Homewood. Own a
Oh
small,
shit, no way, man. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Right on the street. That's
yeah.
awesome. Okay, cool.
I live in Homewood, grew up in Hoover. I own a small lawn care company, and then I'm also a real estate agent with Arc Realty. We own a handful of single family rentals around town. We bought our first one in 2018, so I guess about 7 years ago. And we've got 5 total now. So that's kind of the 30,000 foot level of where we're at and what we've done.
I love it, man. That's awesome, Matt. Thank you for being here, man. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for that. Okay, let's just jump into this. So it's like what I say to everybody, guys, and I mean this the best way that I can. Most people, when they get started, they only focus on the deal. They literally just are trying to find property. And I take a different approach where I focus only on assembling my team. You got to have these people. You got to have your banker, your broker, your accountant, your attorney. Obviously, you, the investor, you have to do some things, of course, but I try and delegate the majority of my business to other people, experts that are doing more than me. You cannot build a skyscraper. Trump Tower was not built off of what the ground was. He had to go down first. He had to have a good foundation. I'm not trying to get political. I'm just saying that, like, whatever skyscraper you're building, you got to go down first. You have to have a strong foundation, okay? So this does not describe all the effort that goes into actually generating the lead out of the gate. I talk all the time about how to generate those leads by going to meetups, getting referrals from bankers and all your people on your team already. So we'll just start with number one here. You get this deal lead from your broker, which again is a part of your team at that point. Now, let me mention on number two here, confirming these physical must-have metrics. Now, the 10 to 40,000 feet, 16-foot ceiling heights, multiple roll-up doors, less than a mile off the highway. And I would ask you guys, did I come up with that? This is maybe a little bit of a trick question, but I like to be interactive, right? I'm not just like up here preaching. I'm not like, I'm not looking for an offering at this end of my sermon here.
Yeah.
But do you guys have an understanding, or do you know why? Or I would question you, why are these attributes so important? Does anybody know?
Track tenants.
Okay. All right. Tenants. Good.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that very question. Because I've seen that these are your requirements before you go
Yes.
in on it, and I was wondering why that is.
They are required. It is 100% required. And whether you work with me or you don't, you guys should come up with your requirements, your own requirements, and you should not deviate away from them. And I say that because I did some homework, and Zane knows this because he's in my office every single day, and he knows I'm a kamikaze. These 4 metrics, these physical attributes, they represent the largest tenant pool in the United States. And I say that not so much about you got a lot of businesses that make less than $3 million, and you have a lot less business that makes more than $30 million. This little pocket, these buildings that I try and own are occupied by 1.2 million businesses in the United States that have gross revenue between $3 and $30 million. Okay? So I did some math. I said, what's the most bankable and the least riskiest style of property to own in the United States? And what happens is these 4 metrics popped up. But here's the thing, is if you took away, let's say the roll-up doors, for example, and you left the other 3, the tenant pool of the owner users and the tenants go from 1.2 to about 600. So you basically cut in half. It doesn't matter which one you take away. So if you took away, if this was 50,000 feet and you left the other 3, you would still cut that tenant pool in half, basically. So what I did is I said, okay, what if I found the largest pool? And the reason why, I'll say this too, so you guys can know this, $3 to $30 million means I'm not dealing with a mom and pop. I'm not dealing with somebody that literally, look, this is not knocking, but not dealing with somebody that just puts their profit and loss, their statement of cash flow on the back of a napkin. And I'm also not having to deal with some attorney that's out of state and have to go through somebody else. I'm actually able to get on the cell phone with the business owner himself and speak with him. That little range of 3 to 30 million feels right to me because most importantly, they're a business owner, and Matt, Robbie, if you guys run with anybody, there's fixed cost and there's variable cost in business on a profit and loss statement. You've got fixed cost of, salaries and cost of goods. Variable cost is commissions, and rent is a fixed cost at that point. So I say all that. I'm just telling you guys this. This is very, very important. When you deviate away from this, you can still buy them, because I actually own 2 buildings that are outside of this, and I'm fortunate because I've got tenants in there, but you shrink your tenant pool. Is that fair? You guys follow that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, cool. All right. moving forward, walk that building with your broker. You take photos, you meet the owner, that kind of thing. Discover the seller's true motivation: death, divorce, dissolution, disaster. My broker would always tell me you got to have three things in a building. You got to have motivation, you got to have a timeline, you got to have something wrong with the property. If you got those three things in a building, you've got a recipe for success. Imagine some guy, whatever city you're in. Matt, you're in Homewood, which I'm right down the street from you. Robbie, maybe you're close to Potomac, maybe you're not. You find a guy that says, hey, I actually got to move to San Francisco. I just got divorced. I got 30 days to sell this property. And if I don't, then I'm in trouble. And there's a roof in the leak. There's a leak in the roof. I'm like, oh, and it's perfect. Like, that is the name of the game right there. You got a timeline, you got something wrong, and the guy's got motivation because he's getting divorced, So that's the key right there, is when you got those three things. Now, look, you can make deals work with two of them, but if you can get all three of those things, man, you've got an absolute slam dunk home run, swing as hard as you can because you're going to hit it, that kind of thing. Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. So one thing I like to show you guys too, just so you can see this, is this is my pro forma too. This comes along with the members of our collective. So this has honestly a ton of pages. But I want to show you when you are walking a building, what I would really recommend doing. So for example, when you're a number 4 and you're number 3, you're walking this property, right? You're walking a building. I would really recommend printing out this due diligence checklist right here. And I'm not gonna lie, I do it. I was walking a building this morning. I printed one out and I was checking boxes. So the first, obviously, these physical attributes of this building. And then, of course, then you back into the financial attributes, which is the cap rate, the debt service coverage ratio, the purchase price, the global debt service coverage ratio, and if the seller is going to leave money in the deal. That's not today or tomorrow, but most importantly, if you can fill out all this information about the lease, the tenant, the rental market info, most importantly, the deferred maintenance information, the value add, if there's a way to double the value of the building in a couple of months, like that's kind of the key. What I would recommend doing is whether it's ours, whether you join or you don't, but you get yourself a system in place on how you underwrite deals. Otherwise, you're gonna flow and you're gonna miss something. You're not gonna ask questions when you're on site with the owner or the broker that you otherwise may have just like on accident like skipped over. You know what I mean? So just a couple of good keys there that but this comes along with your membership with the collective. So again, discovering the seller's motivation, underwriting the deal, the LOI with the metrics, the must-have metrics, the cap rate, the debt ratio, the cash on cash. And I want to say this too, and Zane can make a point on this as well, is we have a lot of members in our group that will say, I can't find any buildings that are the rent the rent is $100,000 a year, but they're selling it at $1.7 million. I just can't find a deal at a 10 cap. I just can't find a deal at a 10 cap. I can't find it. Zane, what would you tell somebody that just can't find a deal at a 10 cap?
They might be asking for a certain price, but we
That's
as
right.
buyers need to make an offer that makes sense for us as buyers, of course.
That's right.
So,
That's
as
right.
Nolan was saying, you got to back your way into the financial metrics. Obviously, you can't really change the physical metrics much unless you go and put money into it and everything.
Right.
But you got to back your way into the financial metrics using our tools and templates and pro formas and spreadsheets in order to make offers that make sense for us as buyers. And then negotiate your way down into matching those financial metrics.
That's right. I mean, you nailed it. I mean, like on our pro forma, literally like you essentially go over here to assumptions. These blue numbers are all the variables. You just kind of change a couple of numbers here and there. And then of course it goes down to the bottom. You got like, it's kind of fun. These numbers will change based on your deal. So for example, like, so this is like 2.9 right now, which is insanely strong based on rent. But let's say that this was $1 million. That will change the cap rate to where it's like, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit into our metrics. and then it changes the debt ratio. So like the color of the deal will change. So it makes it easier to underwrite the deal basically.
Yeah.
So when it's going to help you be more agile and more efficient with your underwriting because you're not having to like, look, you're going to get really proficient at this. It's not incredibly difficult, but when you're able to punch numbers in and you can see based on the color if it makes sense or it doesn't, it allows you to be that much more efficient with your action taking than somebody that's just like hoping and praying that the deal is right or it's not right. You know, that kind of thing. Is that fair to say, Zane? Would you agree with that?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Cool. We're drafting the LOI, which is the letter of intent, and the letter of intent is very simple. It doesn't bind you or the seller to anything. It's very saying, hey, look, we have interest in this property. Here's the terms that we're willing to offer. Are you open to accepting this? And it's really that simple. The seller would respond and say, hey, yeah, we agree to this. And then when that happens, then we begin to actually move forward towards the actual executed purchase agreement. And at that point, when you got a purchase agreement, then it's a legally binding contract. Then we send earnest money, put that up at a title company. Then it starts to get a little more real.
Yeah.
Your broker submits LOI, which is great. Seller agrees to the terms, like I just mentioned. The email insurance agent with all property info for the insurance email. Now, this is another important piece. Again, this is just a part of our not quote unquote program, but it's just you don't have to come up with this. It's just already on here. But like what you can do when you have a deal, you just copy and paste this. You put in your email. Hey, on this day, I bought this property. Here's the dates. Here's the information. And I came up with this again because maybe like you, I really, really enjoy efficiency. I don't want to waste anybody's time. And I just hate the back and the forth on emails and dealing with freaking people asking me for shit. I'm like, insurance guy, what all do you need from me? And I will give it to you. Just tell me all the stuff that you need and I'll send it in one email so you have it all and stop bothering me. You know, that way I can go and like find the next deal. So what my insurance guy said was, if you can give me this information, these bullet pointed information right here, I will be able to underwrite the deal and provide you an insurance premium quote. You know, I'm like, perfect. So I send this email and I CC my banker on it and stuff like that. That way that, you know, they have all the information and I just kind of copy and paste the same email with all the information and it just creates efficiency. You know what I mean? It's not like easy, but it's definitely not hard because I just copy and paste the same shit every single time. You know what I mean? You follow that?
Yeah, that
Okay.
makes sense.
All right, awesome. Okay. So after that, I interview a real estate attorney. I request those attorney. And look, at this point, like Robbie, honestly, if you were to join yesterday, I've got plenty of people I can introduce you to. That's not the point. You know, I can recommend you to a lot of people, but I want to request a real estate attorney that somebody's worked with in the past. The next one, I want to be interviewing commercial bankers who's going to finance the deal because your brokers that brought you the deal has probably closed the deal in the past. So have him recommend you somebody that has closed who has lent money in the past on a deal that's similar to what you're purchasing. Does that make sense? Like if it's Community First Bank, they've probably lent money on a similar deal down the street to what you're buying right now. So they probably have the same appetite or similar appetite to what you're currently purchasing. You know what I mean? So you have another way too that you can actually end up getting a good banker on this is whatever building you're buying, do a title search based on the attorney that you got and see who's holding the existing mortgage. Because I bet you that bank will continue to hold the debt. And then you can get a new relationship with a bank that already has the asset as collateral on their books. So it's way easier to get the debt on that building. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, then what I like to do is I like to go and like buy some beers or some coffee or something or lunch with some of these bankers and brokers. I like to discover, especially with the banks, they make the world go round. Honestly, they really
Yeah.
do. What their appetite is, like what's the loan to value, what's the amortization that they can do, how much can they lend you? Some banks are smaller than others. They have a certain capacity per borrower that they can actually lend money to.
Yeah.
Can they do interest only? You know, that kind of thing. Retain an attorney that you've been recommended to. Sometimes it's less than this. Usually you can wrap that cost into the mortgage. I've done that multiple times. I just like to be transparent. Like most attorneys will like to have a retainer because that's how they get paid. They literally are trading their time for money.
Yeah.
So that's something you can do. Broker's going to email the purchase agreement to the attorney for review. He reviews it, everything's approved, and then you're under contract. And that's kind of like the very beginning steps and stages of doing a deal out of the gate. And then of course, once you get under contract, then you kind of send this global email to all your partners on this, which is your broker, your insurance guy, attorney, account, and it outlines, you put every single person in here, their name and their contact, and you just give everybody direction. You give them all an execution, like a direction to execute. I'm like you. I literally hate wasting time. And I'm like, this is what I need from you. Execute it or don't execute it. I don't care, but this is what I need. And if you don't want to do it, I'll find somebody else, And I'm just like so direct, not in an arrogant or douchey sense, but just like direct, And then yeah, so from there, basically what you do, you just keep kind of rolling down this under contract. Like then you go into phase two, you start introducing, your accountant and stuff like that, some other things, and then yeah, and that's kind of like I said, that's the first phase of the blueprint, and you can't get there without having a good pro forma and without like meeting with the banker and without having a good debt partner and things like that. But in my experience, man, like once you do a couple of deals or even the first deal, your banker will literally be buying you lunches and beers into oblivion, and they're going to be wanting to lend you money all the time. Like I'm closing a deal next week. It's not a big one. It's like 500 grand. The seller's leaving 40% in the deal, and we're thinking about rehabbing some fence and some painting the property. We're closing the deal. Zane has seen the HUD statement. We're closing the deal. We're getting a check at closing for $74,000 with no money in the deal. No money. I'm getting a check at closing for almost $75,000.
That's nice.
I could just go and I guess pay off I don't know, pay something off, I guess. Maybe buy Saints new like golf shoes or something,
That would be nice. 74,000.
I say all that,
golf
Robbie.
shoes.
This is real. This is so real. We just need more partners. We need more partners I can do it by myself, but I can be in so many places at once.
Yeah.
I like Virginia. I don't know much about. I know where Rocky Mount is, but that's pretty much it. I need more partners. I'm not a martyr. I need you to join so that way I can buy property in Virginia. You can take depreciation to offset some of your income otherwise, and we can start earning some passive cash flow. If I'm being transparent.
Yeah, I mean,
That's fair to say.
I like creating equity and having cash flow. Those are
Yes.
two great things to have. So
Yes. Yeah, it's 100%. And this isn't like more or less like an offer or anything like that. We really don't know what we're doing. I believe in this shit. It works. We just need more partners. I don't know how else to describe it. We just
yeah,
need
like how frequently do you find deals that meet these requirements, like that you're getting the seller financing?
You want to answer that one, Zane? I'd say every week. When you just make offers and you don't
Mhm.
give a shit what the response is, you can just if you know that you're going to get 20 no's before you get a yes, how much more excited are you to make that offer?
Yeah. Yeah, no,
We just make offers. We literally just make offers. And they're not like audacious or ridiculous offers, but offers to where someone would benefit from, like the seller would benefit from doing the deal with us. They
Mhm.
benefit. Because then we even have like a partner that's like a 1031 expert, and we can introduce them to them and say, hey, yeah, well, all this money you can save in tax. It like we got a whole kind of system underneath that if they really want to save money in tax, we can introduce them to like our 1031 guy,
That
So
makes
we're
sense.
seller consultants on paper, that kind of thing.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So
No, well, I'll tell you what we'll go do from here.
yeah,
Robbie, I'll just send you that kind of the stuff that people usually need to see before they think about joining, or if they even if it's even actually something that they want to do. It'll have it'll have videos and information there that you can watch.
Yes.
Shows the overview of how the whole business works and how the whole operation works, and kind of also shows you what it looks like to be a part of it as well. So then once you review that stuff, just let me know if you want to find a time to get on Zoom and something, and we can talk about it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I hope at the end of the day, I've tried my best to be I hope the most transparent guy on the internet. Like I promise I try and just give away the keys to Mercedes. I'm like, this is how I do it. These are the deals. Like I'll show you guys, I'll show you a just the HUD statement of one of our most recent sales or one of our most recent purchases. And so like this is the deal that we closed on Goldenrod. So people are like, oh, there's just no way that people actually do this, that people leave money in the deal. But like, look at this. I mean, let me highlight this. I mean, literally the owner second held mortgage, like, left money in the deal, $275,000. I left at closing with $6,900. I got a check at closing.
And yeah, you
Almost 7 grand,
own the
dude.
property.
And I bought the building with no money. I got paid at closing
Hmm.
to buy a 1,075,000 building. I got paid. It's like, I'm not saying that this is like the only way, but I'm telling you, when you do one or two of these things, I- it's a blessing. I'm telling you, when you make the offer properly, and that's the whole point, is like Zane and I kind of coach you. This is exactly the dialogue. This is the inflection to use in your voice when you're speaking with the seller.
Hmm.
This guy, he didn't want to even do this out of the gate, but I told him, his name is Jerry Tucker. I said, Jerry, you're leaving money in this deal, period. And if you
You don't
don't
want to pay
do it, you're
taxes.
stupid. You're leaving money in this deal. If you've watched my videos, you probably have seen me walk that building a couple of times. And if you actually make it to our CRE Summit, which is like our live event that we do every year for all of our members, you'll get a
Yeah.
chance to go walk that building too. It's like, it's cool. So you'll meet a couple of my tenants. You'll meet my banker, my broker, accountant, attorney, like all the guys will all show up to this thing. You'll meet up with like the other 100 members that are a part of our group. Like it's other guys that we've done property, we've done deals with. Like it's a cool time. Like open bar, like it's fun. It's really cool.
Nice.
We'll show you how to buy buildings and with no money down, exactly like this. You can buy $1 million property and get paid almost $7,000 at closing. It's just freaking crazy. It's crazy by making an offer,
Yeah.
making a freaking offer. So
Numbers game.
it's a blessing. It's a total blessing. But yeah, that's what I would recommend doing. Do you have like a thought or question or anything? I want to make sure that we like answer everything for you. It's not right or wrong. Just, I appreciate your time today too.
Yeah, no, same to you. I was, just kind of hopping on here to begin with, just to hear more about this. Like I was saying at the start, I didn't really think that I was going to be able to, be a two-way call. I don't know if you've heard of Blake Rocha, I believe his name is. He's Airbnb guy. He's social media too, and I hopped on one of his webinars before too, and it wasn't like a two-way, so I was kind of just expecting you to be presenting.
Okay.
But definitely appreciate your time and the insights that you've given as far as the commercial game. I've been very curious about it for a while. I feel like I've kind of only had been researching and doing studying on the residential game, and I haven't really thought bigger.
Yeah. Well, here's what will happen, man. If you can do whatever you want. The residential thing, I did it and I get it because it's a little bit smaller. But dude,
Hmm.
once you crack through that $1 million property, you'll
Hmm.
never go back. You'll never think small like again. Like every deal, every rent is at least 10,000 a month. Every tenant is a business owner. Every lease is a triple net, and everything just becomes bigger. Like it changes who you are as a person. Like how old are you, Robbie?
24.
All right, you're already killing it that you're even on this thing like that. I mean, I'm telling you, like your age, you buy a couple of these things, dude, you're setting yourself up, dude. I've got 14 of these things now, and I've worked my ass off to get to it. But now that I'm on the other side, I mean, imagine in 10 years, I'll be 34 this summer. If you can buy one building a year for 10 more years,
Mhm.
you're going to you'll have about $1 million a year of passive income. $1 million a year, you know, at
Yeah.
35, but 34 years old, you know, all your buddies are waiting tables and shit and working for the man
Yeah.
while you're flying on a private jet to the College World Series, you know?
Yeah. No, it's
So,
I
up to you
definitely.
to take action, though. It's up to you. You know, like everybody can talk about it, everyone can think about it. But if you can buy buildings and get paid at closing $7,000, might be something to consider, you know?
No, I mean, I totally agree with you. Is there like an upfront cost, I'm assuming, to join the group?
Oh yeah, no, there is. It's $6,500 to join. But when you buy a building, we just reimburse you the money. So like when you buy a property at closing, it'll be on the HUD statement, tuition reimbursement of $6,500. And if you got it for free, you wouldn't take action with it. Same way that you've downloaded maybe like a lose 10 pounds in 10 days PDF. I, I haven't lost 10 pounds yet.
No,
I still
I'm
eat
actually,
Chick-fil-A.
yeah, I'm actually into like the bodybuilding thing, but
There you go. Well,
yeah.
it'd be like the same as how to get your body weight or your your body fat down to 4%.
Yeah.
But if you download this for free, I'll get you to 4%. You don't really take action with something that's going to get you down there if it's free. But if you paid $25,000 for it, I bet you would probably focus a little bit harder on, whatever that guy was selling, The point of this is take action with what we're offering, with all the information and material that we offer. That's the key. But that's
Yeah.
up to you. It's up to you to how bad you want it, if that's fair to say.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
So, well, here's what I think we should do is look, if you want, if you have desire, I think the move is to just get on a call with Zane, watch a couple of these videos that we've got, just to show you what is actually on the inside. And if it makes sense, great. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Well, then just keep doing your thing, man. You keep, doing the bicep curls, But if you want to do bicep curls and also mix in some passive income, it might end up making some sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I just don't know. I with the might be a move for later on right now, just because I've had an HVAC go out in my triplex and
Whew.
I had to dump some money into that. So a little short on 6,500 in the savings account right now towards dumping to.
If it was a triple net lease, Robbie,
I wouldn't be paying for it. I know.
then
It's
would
all
have paid for it.
tenants. But I mean, like you said, it's all about executing. And I feel like I executed at 24 years old to buy a triplex.
Awesome.
So I know I'm already doing fairly well on that aspect. And like I said,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get into the commercial game, and I've definitely had aspirations to get in that, and would love your advice and everything like that. But I don't want to like really waste Zane's time on going about this. I can
Don't do it.
most
Then don't do
likely.
it.
Yeah,
Keep
exactly. Just
watching the
reach
channel.
out to you guys, and
Yes.
then when I'm have the 6,500 in the bank.
Sounds great, man. We appreciate your time, Robbie. Yeah, look, it's not even a race. I just appreciate you making your time today. Honestly, we're just looking for more partners. If I could be
No,
honest,
it makes sense.
need more partners.
I totally get
We
that.
need more we got a bunch of money to spend, and we're just like looking for good partners. So when that time comes, Robbie, please do not hesitate to reach back out to us. We'd love to get back on a call with you to see if the timing is right. Okay.
Yeah, no, hopefully I can get done here relatively shortly. I'm just in the process of racking up that money again here. So
Love it. I love it.
I'm in sales as well, so like
Yes.
I make my money off commissions and
That's
just
right.
saving up that cash flow.
Well, save our number, man. I mean that too. Like,
No, for sure I will.
For in the meantime, holler at us.
All right, we'll do it. Thank you again for your time and all the free game you've been given.
I'm not stopping either. I'll keep on giving you.
Good to hear. That's what I like to hear.
I love it. Thanks, Robbie. Appreciate it, brother.
Have a good one.
See you soon.
Thank you.